Welcome to Super Return Asia. I'm Sarah Clark. Joining me for a discussion today is one of the key topics of innovation and new technologies, in particular growth markets. Is Asia the world's hunting ground for VC and PE investors? Joining me to discuss this issue is Amit Anand, from the Managing Partner Jungle Ventures, Eric Wang, Managing Partner of GRC SinoGreen Fund, and Zhou, founding MP or founding Managing Partner at Keytone Ventures. So let's start with the first key question. Is Asia the launching or nurturing market for new technologies? I'll start with you.
Yeah, we're based in Singapore, and if you look at the fact that Southeast Asia today is adding more than 3 to 4 million internet users, new internet users that have never been online on a monthly basis. You're looking at crossing more than 400, 500 million internet users in the next few years. And when you look at the fact that that level of consumer base, new consumer base, is sitting there to be targeted with new solutions, with new kinds of products and services, you will see very quickly that emerging Asia is going to be the central focus for product companies, for tech companies.
Eric, what do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, we believe that China in particular will be leading in several areas. Particularly, let me just take an electric vehicle for example. Even though Tesla in the US was the first one to come out with an electric vehicle, but China, with government and strong support, now we have a huge amount of electric vehicle already in the market. And we invest in companies that enable the electric vehicle. So that's one example. Another example I would say is smart manufacturing. We know China has a lot of manufacturing space, but now with AI and machine learning and robotics, with those we help to grow what we call smart manufacturing space. And the third area is healthcare. We invest in a consumer genomic analysis platform with a huge population and the support of government. We believe that that's the third area that we should see a lot of growth. Maybe potentially will be leading the world in the future.
And I want to discuss some of those areas in more detail in a moment.
Sure.
But I'll ask you, Zhou, tell me, do you think Asia certainly is inviting or targeting, nurturing new technologies and innovation more so than other areas globally?
If you look at the area in terms of next generation retail, China is certainly, with two internet giants, Alibaba and Tencent, leading the effort. China certainly is going to lead. With the new technology like AI, machine learning, and big data, you will soon see people walk into a retail store and with or without phone, just with facial recognition. You could walk in and pick your merchandise and walk out and pay. I think this is going to happen very soon. And some other area that is data heavy, and some other area that utilizing artificial intelligence, computer vision, machine learning, and so on. You will see very soon in the airport, which your ID will be validated anyway. You will see a facial recognition, just walk in, right? The door will open for you. You may even check in with your flight without even have to pull out your ticket. So this is going to happen earlier than anywhere else. The other area I would say anywhere that is data heavy, like Eric just mentioned, healthcare. I think China with a huge amount of data. With the government now is leading the way of building the information infrastructure for patient data, which unlike in the US had gathered that data in the past 50 years, China didn't have that. Now we are sort of leapfrog building the most advanced patient data infrastructure. And those data will be utilized for precision medicine, for diagnosis, and we'll see a robotics doctor could really screen for X-rays and so on and so forth, and diagnosis these conditions. So those are the area I think China or Asia, particularly in China, will lead.
Can I ask you, I mean, which technologies do you think Asia has a head start on, and maybe one of your favourite picks as one of those innovation areas or companies?
Yeah, and I think it does come down to a little bit of the old adage that necessity is the mother of invention. We were speaking about healthcare. If you look at emerging markets like Indonesia, the reality is that for Indonesia has one doctor for every 10 or 20,000 citizens, and the standard approach of scaling healthcare is never going to get the country to a point where it's going to be able to tap into, solve all the problems of healthcare in the country. And so I think you'll see that in every emerging economy where the consumer is getting more savvier, with a smartphone in his hand or her hand and looking for solutions, products, to its problems. Tech companies, local tech companies, global tech companies will leverage new technologies to solve for that problems. Healthcare obviously is one of the big areas. We also think that SMEs, small and medium businesses, which are the backbones of these emerging economies, more than 30 to 70% of the GDP of every country in emerging Asia is sitting in SMEs. That's where you will see a lot of innovation. And we last year invested in a company which putting it simply, automates everything that an SME does, from back office to front office to inventory management. And this company has scaled in the last 4 years to more than 20,000 SMEs in the region across India, Southeast Asia, Singapore. And so you'll see that in many such areas where local markets are large, but they've been wanting in terms of solving some of their problems. New tech companies are starting to drive innovative solutions.
Eric, can I ask you your pick? I mean, for which is your pick in Asia with regards to new technology that's on the rise and that your company has invested in?
Of course, yeah. So I want to refer to our first speaker of VC Summit, right? He said, there are several types of innovation, technology innovation, the most mentioned in the US, right? Also process innovation and product innovation, and then business model innovation. A lot of our portfolio company are focused on the process innovation, which will be essential to make a technology commercialize. So one company that we particularly like is the company called C-Nano. They produce carbon nanotube. You don't buy carbon nanotube in a supermarket, right? It's not a consumer product, but it's one ingredient that enables electrical vehicles. It's an additive you add to the battery so that your electric car can drive longer. And that particular company already produced 1,000 tons of carbon nanotube that enables 1 million electrical vehicles to run on the street. So that's an example, which is also my favorite for that space.
The difference in constraints and regulations in various countries and across the world, who are the leaders in the likes of machine learning, AI, and biotech?
Potentially, China should lead, if not right now, but in 2-3 years, China will lead in those areas, predominantly because of the data availability of data, or scale of the data, the depth of the data, you look at healthcare. That China is aggressively collecting data. That those data, in a very large scale, will be utilized for advanced medicine, for diagnosis, and also reduce the cost of healthcare. So that's one area. In autonomous driving, we have invested in a company that had used machine learning and AI to go through road conditions. They've gone through different sort of road conditions with 5 million miles of data, and then use that data to integrate in the sort of computer vision or ADAS or autonomous driving space. And they're the company who had signed commercial application from L1 to L4 with all major automakers, which is quite phenomenal. And of course, the third area is in the machine learning and AI is healthcare. That Chinese government is collecting a large amount of data, make it available for technology company to utilize the scale and number of patients in certain conditions to produce a solution for precision medicine, immunotherapy, and so on and so forth.
Can I ask you, Amit, you're doing lots of nodding. Do you agree with what Zhou has said?
For us, I think whenever we are looking at a company today, if the company is not already talking about using artificial intelligence and using data, it doesn't matter what domain they are from, whether they are in healthcare, autonomous vehicles, whether they are in financial services, whether they are in retail. If you're not already not just talking but working on artificial intelligence, we don't want to look at you. Because the reality is these are horizontal trends. Artificial intelligence is impacting every industry. It's going to transform many industries. It's going to help some industries leapfrog. But certainly it's something that you cannot run away from if you're a tech investor or a founder today. In particular, we've seen artificial intelligence make a huge impact in financial services. This is an industry which has been sitting on regulation. With regulation comes a lot of processes. With processes comes a lot of labor. With labor comes a lot of operations. And we've seen that the early wave of AI is coming and automating some of these processes, but you're now starting to see on how AI is also helping financial services companies see white spaces of opportunities. And so we invested in a company called Keytone, which is based out of Singapore, which is now becoming a global leader in machine learning for solving KYC and AML issues. And given in the financial industry that we operate in, we all know how challenging those issues are. And so you'll start to see that, to my point earlier, I think artificial intelligence data is the backbone for every tech company in the world today. And you cannot be looking at investing in companies that are not using that to their advantage.
Okay, thank you very much, Zhou, Eric, and Amit.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to see more on this issue, please go to Twitter and look for #SRAsia. See you next time.